Chelsea is an improving side, very dangerous on the transition. And LinkedIn Liam Rosinho is one that has some revenge in his mind, being when having defeated them in the Carabao Cup. This is Arsenal versus Chelsea preview. Welcome to the bar Arsenal, and today I'm going to have a panelist on the other side of the divide, the blue half, actually, making his debut on the channel. Mr. Feishayo, how you doing, bro?
Oh, I'm very good. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here with
Awesome,
you.
awesome. So far, how have you enjoyed how the campaign has panned out for Chelsea? You know, with Enzo Maresca leaving the club, and of course being replaced by LinkedIn Liam, you know, the tech bro. How have you, as a Chelsea fan, seen this transition play out?
If I'm to rate the whole season as a whole, I would say it's been kind of a mixed feeling for we Chelsea fans. We started the season very optimistic about our chances. Some even predicted Chelsea might go on to challenge for the title, although I felt those things were actually very premature at that time because the team was growing, but then we had not arrived. But I could also forgive those that felt that Chelsea had arrived, owing to the fact that they ended the season very well and
Mm-hmm.
going on to beat Paris Saint-Germain at the inaugural Club World Cup final.
Club World
So
Cup,
it gave
yeah.
a lot of fans, yes, this kind of false belief that Chelsea had arrived. But then if you look at the whole team, you see that the inconsistencies that matter since the last year are still not being taken out. So the Christian. So far so good. We Enzo Maresca initially at the helm. We felt like we were heading somewhere, but at some point it down to, and everybody knew that even though the team was not matured enough, they could still muster some things and were able to win those matches that he drew. With Liam Rosinho, the jury is still out. I don't know where to put my allegiances yet. He's a man I love, owing to the fact that I followed him at all and at Strasbourg. But then Chelsea job is not just a job you can just jump into. So far so good.
Yeah.
It's done well. But then tomorrow we'll decide if I would pitch my tents with him or not.
Okay, but then again, I don't think you really need a fixture to decide that, in my own opinion. You know, because I'm thinking of the fact that since he joined the club, besides the two results against Arsenal, I don't think he has drawn any game. Okay, obviously, these last two against Leeds and Burnley was kind of like a surprise to you guys. But in terms of the style of play, have you seen any improvement from what Maresca was doing, or do you think he needs to, you know, do something different? Because I think your formations kind of seem alike, see the same 4-2-3-1 setup, yeah. But seeing how
Yes. Uh,
Coutinho is playing, any
the
difference
thing
in your
is,
opinion?
in my opinion, let me first start with what you said earlier. It's not as if I'm using the fixture to judge him. But
Mm-hmm.
even if Chelsea goes on to lose the match tomorrow, nobody would vilify him because Arsenal are a well-oiled team than Chelsea, and in their journey, they are close to maturing. The only thing left for the Arsenal team is to win a major title. They
Yeah,
are there. They've been consistently there for the past 3 years now. So Chelsea are still on their journey. So it will be a mismatch to say Rosinho should go on to beat us now. But then, what I meant by I will judge him is how he sets up tactically
yeah,
against Arteta. You don't need to win totally for me to know if you are tactically adept. So if you are tactically adept and you can match up with him, then I would know that okay, I can pitch my tent with you, knowing fully well that you would lead Chelsea to glory in in the future. So, but for him, he sets up in a hybrid form. He builds up with three at the back, but he plays a 4-2-3-1. It can morph into a 4-5-1. It can morph into a 3-4-3 or 3-4 or 3-5-2, as it were. So he's a very flexible coach. It depends on who is meeting and the personnel he has at hand. But with our injury problems and the knocks here and there, I believe it's just going to go for a flat 4-2-3-1 against Arsenal, which would match
Okay.
Arteta's Arsenal.
Okay, so when you think about the fact that in the Carabao Cup semi-final, when we came to Stamford Bridge, that was the game that we almost ran away with. Obviously, Garnacho was in good form, but in the second leg, everyone kind of expected Rosinho to actually like come for it. But that formation kind of seemed a bit too defensive. So, what was your opinion when you saw the lineup that Chelsea put out and how they played before Kai Havertz scored the final goal that sent you guys out?
For the Carabao Cup semi-final, the second leg, everybody kept saying the lineup was too defensive. I want to support the manager here now because it's not as if he decided to set up in that manner. It was necessitated because he had a lot of players out.
Yeah.
Esteva was just coming from Brazil after the the the, the break he had. Someone died. I don't know. He had a little
Hmm.
whatever. There
Yeah.
was a there was a I think and the Palmer was also out. A lot of
Hmm.
our wingers were out. No Gittins. Garnacho was not someone you can just start like that because I don't feel he should be starting games. When he comes on, he brings on an energy that you can match. So basically, we were without two of our wingers, and he had no option than to just go and play Dilap and Joao Pedro. But if I were to be the manager that day, I probably would have
Hmm.
tweaked a little bit because everybody knew that you needed to score a goal to stay in the competition. And against
Yes.
a side that has shown such defensive discipline, you cannot gamble on attacking them in the last 30, 15 minutes and getting a goal. Because if we were to
Hmm.
play that game again for another year entirely, we might get the same result entirely. Arsenal are very resolute defensively. And you are putting in crosses to, of course, Joao Pedro had a good game against Saliba and
Gabriel.
Gabriel. But then,
Yeah.
yes, you gave him a lot to do against these two, and these are the two of the best defensive minded players in the Premier League. I would even go on to say they are the best defensive player in the Premier League as at now. So if I were the manager there, I probably would have played a 4-4-2 flat. Give Joao Pedro something to worry Saliba and Gabriel for. And have Dilap, as useless as it seems is, have him to also go against them. Yes, yes. If he pits Dilap and Joao Pedro, play Joao Pedro slightly behind Dilap and use
Yeah.
your Neto, whatever, getting the
Hmm.
second balls off them and run. But you add just one person against four tall Arsenal defenders. Arsenal don't
Yeah.
play fullbacks; they play centre backs
In
in their this
fullback
thing.
positions.
So
Yeah.
yes, so winning first ball was totally off. And in football, if you don't win your first ball, you need to win your second ball. Nobody was
I
doing that
agree.
for Chelsea. All we did was add possession of ball, recycling possession, and all that. Often it doesn't amount to anything. And Arsenal were so
Often.
comfortable in the game. Arteta played
Yeah.
exactly the way
What he
Chelsea wanted
wanted.
to play.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He
yes,
didn't have anything to lose actually in that game. That's
nothing
fair.
at all. Nothing.
Yeah. So we have a couple of comments in the chat as always. Thanks for everyone being in the chat today. And Kelechi spoke about how your manager just wanted to nick a goal in the last few minutes. There was that kind of encouragement that they were showing. And they also had the throw for Gittins. Say Gittins is a kitten that has not matured yet. So now let's just talk about your wingers for a little bit. For some reason, you guys have churned out so many wingers. Like, I was reading one article from the likes of Sterling to Mudrik to Garnacho to Gittins to no, okay, I can't really go on Kunku, no, to Esteval. So you guys have had so many
Maga,
wingers, right? Yeah. So the question now is, at what point will you have some stability? Because it tends to seem that the model that Chelsea uses is to bring in players allow them shine for a couple of maybe seasons, and sell them off for the next one. Minus the likes of Caicedo, Enzo, Palmer, it has been kind of very evident that many players are coming to Chelsea don't spend beyond 3 to 4 seasons and they go to the next bidder. So is there any reason behind that model? As a fan, and as a Chelsea fan, how do you feel about it?
I have mixed feelings about the model. First of all, the model on paper looks like something that is very, very beautiful, unique. But then the way they have gone about it leaves a little less to be desired by Chelsea fans. Because, like you said, what we are currently doing is developing players. We, the fans, we bear the brunt. We suffer with the players. We see them develop. And just as they are maturing, they sell them off to start the cycle again.
Yeah.
For instance, we endured Noni Madueke for 2 years, 2.5 years.
I like that word.
Just as Noni was close to maturing. Noni had 9 Premier League goals last year for Chelsea. He
Mhm.
was not consistent. Everybody knew that. No,
Yeah.
I stand to be corrected. I do not think it's all up to 9, but it should be close to double figure for goals and
All
assists and in all
competitions.
competitions.
Yeah.
I don't have that fact now. Sorry. But then
Mhm.
Noni was not consistent, but Noni could be unplayable on his days. And he
Yeah.
was an able deputy to Neto. He can play on the left wing when this guy was out. Mikhailo Misha was
Goodrich.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, Modric was out. But just as Noni was entering into that phase where you can also, okay, he's an established Premier League player, they sold him. Let me
Mhm.
go back again. We endured Kai Havertz. I was one of the Kai Havertz fans. I was a passionate fan of Kai Havertz. Of course, they will argue that the sale was because of FFP and to balance the books and
Yeah.
all that.
Whatnot.
The deal was too
Mhm.
juicy for them to look away.
Oh, I think we've lost him. Hey, Rory, is your internet okay now? Oh, is it just me? Oh, wow.
They would escape from Brazil. Hello, am I the only one here? Sorry, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you, bro. I thought this was me, you know. I thought this was me at first. Jesus Christ. And usually it is me with the technical difficulties. Still can't hear you, bro. Oh my lord. No. Might have to lip read for the rest of the stream, you know. Jesus.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. For some reason, you guys got frozen and I could not hear you guys anymore. You know, and I know you were still speaking about the wingers, and why I stopped when we're speaking for you was when you were talking about you finished your talk about Madueke and you were talking about what afterwards. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can
Yeah,
you now?
yeah.
I think
So
you just muted for.
yeah, after you spoke about
Yes, I can hear you.
yeah, after you spoke about Madueke, there was a winger you were speaking about that and I lost connection. Who was it?
Yes, I was speaking.
I think all of
Can
us.
you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, bro. Rory, can you hear him?
Nah, I can't.
Yes, I hear you now.
Nah, I can't.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this, guys. I don't know why we're having any technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this. I don't know why we're having technical difficulties.
Wow. Okay.
Was that a mad echo, by the way?
Yeah. For some reason. Okay, so I'm Rory. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you. Was that a mad echo, by the way?
I think it's from his end. Let's. Oh, God damn. What's
For some
going to be?
reason. So I'm Robin. Can you hear me?
So you do want to go come out
Yeah,
and come back in? Is it okay now?
You want to go come out come back in? Okay. Is it okay now? I think I should.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Yo, that's mad.
Is it stable, Rory?
That's mad still. Say again?
Is it stable now? Can you hear me well without the echo?
Yeah. It's maybe a little bit delayed, but can you hear me as well, bro?
Oh yeah, I can. I'm so sorry about this. I don't know what's happening today, man. So what? So once he comes in, I think we can start. So let's talk about Arteta's press conference. He has so much to say, in all honesty, and talking about the players, Gyökeres. Did you have a chance to watch that press conference, bro?
I haven't actually. Yeah, let's roll it.
Okay, cool. So some of the key things he spoke about in the press conference, well, he mentioned how we needed emotional control in our derby matches. So what's your take on that statement, emotional control?
I hate it, to be honest, because really and truly we should be. I'm not saying go like full gun ho in every single game, but just play with a little bit more purpose and get the best out of our attacking players, instead of just control in the midfield. I know he's mentioned. I know he's mentioned dominance. I know he's mentioned dominance before. Yeah, the echo's mad, by the way.
Oh no, so what I'll do, I'll just mute him. When the time for him to speak, I will mute him back. I think the echo is coming from Faye's end. So go ahead, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as I was saying, right, I've heard him say he wants dominance in midfield before, but control isn't the same thing. So for me, right, he should just play with a little bit more purpose, really, and that is, for me, that for me is the significance of winning this league title. To me, it may not be to Arteta, but it's certainly, as a fan base, from our point of view, if we want to win this league title, we're just going to have to, again, play with a bit more purpose, a little bit more on the front foot in the first 45 as well, because we've not seen that in ages, right? 2 seasons ago, we battered pretty much not everyone, but of season, we were scoring 5, 6. We were putting teams to the sword. Now it's just all about control, and definitely had PTSD over the Manchester City game a couple of seasons back. Perhaps even, the Aston Villa game where we lost 2-0. So it's like every other defeat we have in a title race, it's like, oh God, we need to be so conservative. We can't afford to take any risks. And to me, that is going to cost us more than it's going to benefit us, really. Because, if you have control of the midfield, then you're technically not losing games, but at the same time, you're not winning them. So to me, dominance and just a little bit of purchase in the final third, really, because he's not really got the best out of any of our attackers so far this season. So from now until the end of the season, we got to see it. Control, not my cup of tea, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's fair. So, Faye, I think I was speaking about avoiding transitional chaos against Chelsea's pace, and you have a team that had loads of pacey wingers. So the question to you is, how have your wingers fared, and do you think that they could be of serious threat to Arsenal in tomorrow's game?
Sorry, look, can you hear me now?
Yes, please, we can.
When you say wingers now, I'm very surprised because we have just 1.5 winger.
Okay, inside forwards. Inside forwards.
Ronaldo would start on the left, but then the big decision will be who starts on the right. And definitely, it will be Palmer because Estevao is out, Garnacho cannot start. So the other winger that we have that can come in is Garnacho. Yes, of course, he scored a brace against Arsenal. Probably that could help his confidence against Arsenal. I don't see how he's going to get the best out of William. So I personally don't have any hope in him. If Liam Rosinho will set that up, definitely we can use Neto's pace to destabilize Arsenal. But I don't think Arteta, like the speaker said, Arteta would not try to control Chelsea's chaos. And he's not going to go all out against Chelsea. He would be defensively solid against Chelsea because he knows exactly what Chelsea will bring to the table. So I personally feel that Neto can have a great game tomorrow. If Neto does have a good game against Timber tomorrow, Chelsea might be able to nick something.
Fair. Okay. So Rory, I think I also spoke about Victor Gyökeres. He spoke about how he has kind of improved in his form, and I think it's fair to say that the last game he played was basically his best game in an Arsenal shirt. Now you expect Gyökeres to start tomorrow's game. What's your take on the noise around him, and do you think he's fully settled in the club to reach that 20-goal mark?
I think he has. I think you can tell so far this year, you're seeing him get on the end of a lot of chances, and you can tell we are starting to get him into the game a little bit more. I think the noise, I mean, at times it is justified because, there's been games where he does need to offer a little bit more when it comes to getting in the right places at the right time. But at the same time, like I've done a video on this on TikTok. I don't know if you watch Saturday Social, but they put, I believe, Gyökeres when they were ranking or grading, whatever, the Premier League strikers so far this season. They put Gyökeres as D, and I'm like, what are we doing here? They put Sesko as B, like below the likes of Ollie Watkins, Danny Welbeck, bloody. Who else was there? Voltemada, Solanke, all these strikers.
Right now, man.
And I'm like, he's not a D striker right now because he scored more goals than anyone else in the Premier League so far this year. He's got the second best conversion rates, I believe, this season, along with Igor Thiago at 24%. So he's doing something right, isn't he? Like he's scoring goals so far this year at the pivotal end of the season. Even if he scores 10 goals and we get over the line, no one's really going to give a toss, really. So,
True.
listen, they go from us needing a striker who can score goals to now, oh, we need a striker who is aesthetically pleasing to watch and, you know, who has this low center of gravity. Like, I'm just like, well, hold on a minute. Should we have gone for a striker that scores 20, 25 plus, or like a proper goal scorer up front? Or would you have preferred us to sign a striker who is aesthetically pleasing, like who doesn't score goals? It just doesn't make no sense to me when he's now actually doing the bare minimum, which is basically putting the ball in the back of the net. That's what we expect from Gyökeres, and that's why we bought him in for. So this is why I just don't get the hatred towards him so far this year, because he's, for me, been excellent so far this year, and he's on track to break more goals than any other striker under Mikel Arteta, I believe. I think Lacazette.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, he's got 17 right when he played under our.
Yeah. So we're having like a lag from you, Rory. Okay, so Faye, let me go to the next question.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, we kind of lost him.
Oh Jesus.
Sorry, bro. Sorry. So Faye, I think I also spoke about the psychological advantage we have over Chelsea. Bearing in mind that we have, I think our last 9 games or 8 games, you guys have not gotten a result against us. So how you as a Chelsea fan, how does that play into your mind going into this game?
A Chelsea fan, I don't want any other thing than for Chelsea to spoil Arsenal's party tomorrow. I want Chelsea to beat Arsenal tomorrow. That psychological hold against Chelsea has played on for too long. And we were close to beating Arsenal on 2 occasions. If not for Sanchez that gave Arsenal last-minute draw, we could have beaten Arsenal.
The one he gave
2
Declan Rice, right?
We were 2 goals up. He gave Declan Rice a free goal by passing awkwardly to Declan Rice. He equalized, and Arsenal went on to score a last-minute equalizer, Trossard. In the Carabao Cup first game, we were playing so well. We could have beaten Arsenal. He made 2 mistakes. Credit to him. He made one super save to deny Merino a 4th goal, which could have made his tie very comfortable for Arsenal as at then. But then, if Sanchez could please be normal tomorrow, I believe we have a chance. Personally, it has gone on for long. 9 games, 9 matches, it's too long. The last time we defeated Arsenal, Arteta's Arsenal, was 2021 under Thomas Tuchel. James and Romelu Lukaku. It's too long.
Oh yeah. That we started very early. We lost to Chelsea, lost to Brentford, lost to Man City, and we now have I remember then quite early.
So it's gone on for too long. They believe that they can beat us any point, anytime. And aside the fact that Chelsea winning this game would flip the psychological barrier, it could also give Chelsea greater impetus into the remainder of the season. Because as it were, the only team that I believe that if we are going again can beat us hands down is Arsenal. And in that Champions League, if we are to succeed, we need to beat any team. So if Chelsea goes on to beat Arsenal, believe wherever we meet, maybe FA Cup, maybe Champions League, the players would have the belief in themselves that they can actually stand against Arsenal. I believe we will get a result tomorrow. Personally, I want Chelsea to win. I'm predicting a full-time draw.
Awesome, awesome. So before I go to the next section, after spoke about Eberichi Eze, how he's understanding him emotionally, trying to get to know him better. Eze is one player that we hope to see a whole lot more from. But in all honesty, there's some parts where he has underperformed and there's some parts where he was not even featured enough to even perform. So Rory, where's your honest take on the Eze situation at Arsenal and what do you think we should do going forward?
Well, listen, I've always said, right, with the Eze situation, it's similar in a way to Gyökeres because I think Eze is probably one of the easiest players you can platform, but Arteta's just not done it this season. It feels like every time Eze is in a little bit of form, or to be honest, you can factor in every other player, whether that be in Gyökeres, whether that be in Martinelli, whoever, right? Every time these players get into, I would say, their best patch of their career, best patch of, I would say, their Arsenal career. Let me rephrase that. He always seems to either drop them or they just get injured, really, and that's the frustrating thing for me. I think Eze should definitely be roaming around the left-hand side rather than the right because, again, it's just the same what we did with bloody Odegaard, right?
Yeah.
All these seasons, he's changed to the right-hand side because he knows Odegaard over the years has had a decent combination with Saka here and there. Hence, we have Ben White playing as the right back because we know what he can provide going forward. But that's not how you want to platform a player like Eze. Eze needs way more freedom than he currently is getting at this moment in time. Right? And he has a tendency of doing it. Like we saw when Zinchenko a couple seasons ago, he was playing in the inverted role. He was trying to do the same with Kieran Tierney at one stage.
Yeah.
Eddie Nketiah, like, were trying to make him into Gabriel Jesus when he was injured and the way he would. No, it's not how you want to platform these players. Just because you've instructed the likes of Odegaard to do it doesn't mean you instruct Eze to do exactly the same thing because they're different players, different profiles. Eze's that maverick type who's going to get on the ball. He's more of a playmaker for me. Odegaard slows down the tempo. Like I'll say not slow down the tempo, but, controls the tempo every now and then. Hence, he could be better, much deeper, rather, as opposed to the number 10 role. I think I can see Eze's future being out on the left-hand side at Arsenal, that is. I don't see it being in the number 10. However, it makes more sense to play him from now until the end of the season in that position because you want to play him into confidence. You can't just basically, you score a brace against Tottenham, you don't drop him for the next game. He needs at least 5 or 6 games so he can regain that confidence again. Because if he drops him tomorrow, then it's a case of he's going to have to do it all again, doesn't he? And there's no Tottenham to save him this time because we can't play them again this season, and B, we may not be able to play them next season as well because they could go down. So, I think with Eze, right, just play him into confidence. Which this is a perfect way to do it. Like we didn't do it last time when he scored a hat trick against them lot. He played a couple of games here and there after Tottenham, but then Odegaard came back from injury, so he then ended up starting. Eze didn't even get substitute appearances, for God's sake. So, for me, right, just play him from now until the end of the season. Allow Odegaard to actually work his way back into this team because he treats Martinelli a different way. He's got to work his way back into the team. Same with Kai Havertz as well. The way Gyökeres has been performing this year, like Havertz has got to find a way to get back into this team by performing. Same with Ben White. The same with Calafiori, who's been replaced by Hincapié. So, like, every player needs to be fighting for their position at this stage of the season because it's crunch time. It really is. We can't afford no passengers at this rate. And although Eze can be a bit too casual at times, you can't tell me he's not up the pitch because most of the time he's having to drop so deep because he's just not getting the ball. And when do you ever see us play centrally? Never. So that's the problem with me about Eze. Like, he just isn't getting played consistently, and he's been given the same role as Odegaard, basically. Chained to the right-hand side, holding hands with Saka, dropping deep because he can't bloody get into the game. So I don't know, like, what we expect him to do, really. Like, for me, he's a player that you've got to give freedom to, and that's what we did against Tottenham last weekend. We gave him that sort of platform to just do whatever he likes because, again, it's Tottenham. You've got Trossard coming inside. Hincapié, in fact, not just Hincapié, but both fullbacks was staying wide. So that allowed Eze to find them pockets. That again, by the way. I want to see that again. I know we're at home this time, and it's not away from home, but that's what I want to be seeing. I want to see Eze in them pockets, closer to the striker as well, because that's where he does thrive off. And hopefully he does play him from now until the end of the season, because I think we can get the best out of Eze if he actually does play him. So that's my view on it.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. We'll talk about Arsenal's form and team news. The last 5 games we've played, we've had 3 wins and 2 draws. The draws were quite disappointing because we drew 1-1 with Brentford, and we saw what happened with the Burnley game today. They were this close to losing it. We should have done enough to get a victory in that game. We were 1-0 ahead, had an error where we kind of had the chance to score, but Declan Rice chose to pass instead. Then, of course, there was the Wolves game that sent everyone into meltdown. In between that, there have been wins against Sunderland, Wigan, and Spurs. So looking at our form, in the last 5 games, have there been any standout players for you? Or will you just look at the Gyökeres and easy performance against Spurs and just say one-off?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, Rory.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, ain't it, with the team news, because honestly, you don't know with Arteta after a win. Like, it's a bit confusing, really. You never know what he's going to do. Is he going to rotate? Well, not like by 4 or 5 positions, but like he'll definitely go with something that will, I'll say, shock the system a little bit. Like, he could bring Odegaard back into the team, for instance. He could play Saka in the 10 again. Like, you just don't know. Calafiori could come back into the team because he's one of his favourites. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's really difficult.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wait, what was the question again?
I wanted to ask, have there been any standout player for you as an Arsenal fan in the last 5 games you've played?
What was that again? I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I was asking whether there have been any standout players for you as an Arsenal fan in the last 5 games you've played.
Well, obviously, like Eze last week, Gyökeres, I'd say Hincapié as well. I think those were arguably the 3 standouts for me last weekend, who definitely deserve to stay put in the lineup for me. I think I was going to say Martinelli, but I don't know if he's done enough in the Premier League to necessarily warrant a start at the moment. So I'm not really I'm not really
Okay.
too sure. For sure, like Gyökeres, Eze, and Nkake should be keeping their places in the team, in my opinion, anyway.
All right, that's fair. So let's talk about Chelsea for a little bit. Faye, are you still with us? Because you're blacked out.
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Okay. So since the loss to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, you have had 4 games where you drew against, the two promoted side, Leeds and Burnley. You defeated Wolves as well. Obama had 2 penalties, and of course the win against Hull City. So, like, how concerned are you? Have you been with the form of Chelsea since losing to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup?
Ah, concerned, yes, we drop points, and the fashion we drop those points, especially against Leeds and then against
Burnley.
Burnley, were so painful. The Leeds game, we were robbed. It was not an intentional handball, blah 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 blah. You know, look so very silly of those arbitrators, the referees, and the whatever, because we were not supposed to draw points against Leeds. But then it happened. Kopama could have salvaged a win for us. Last
Oh yeah,
gaps
that's a good
chance,
chance.
we blew it over the bar, and of course, he's our best player. We cannot get mad at him. Then against Burnley, I actually was not that hot against Burnley because I saw that equalizer coming. We were so laid back, no urgency. We just were complacent that day. And of course, Fofana stupidly got a red card. And what do you expect? So then we allowed Burnley to get into the game and finished us off with that last gaps equalizer from them too. Those two draws were painful because we could have gained momentum on the log, but then we dropped those 4 points and we have to face Arsenal now and try to salvage something out of a very difficult game. I believe that we can be better if we tend to control the game very well. So with what we have, and of course, people are so early and so happy to make doom statement against Chelsea. They have the toughest run in, blah 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 blah. But this is Chelsea. We love it very hard. So I would be very concerned if we are facing the likes of Burnley, the likes of Wolves, and the likes. But now we are facing the tough teams on the log now. So I believe Chelsea would do something mad. So I'm not totally.
Okay, so now let's talk about the table for a bit. Right now you're sixth place with 45 points, and the road for Champions League qualification is really hot. You have Man United who are resurgent under Carrick. You have Liverpool who are now basically finding some form on that slot. You have Aston Villa who have had their ups and downs, but they are still quite high up the table. And you have Brentford breathing down your necks. So how confident are you that you're going to qualify for the Champions League this season?
I am 101% confident that Chelsea will qualify for Champions League. You see, it is very easier for people to toot the horns of teams like last year it was Nottingham Forest, the year before I think I cannot really recall. Now it's Aston Villa. I wrote and I can quote myself anywhere. On the 11th of November, I said Aston Villa will suffer because you cannot you would always resort to your main. This is the Premier League. You can't be cheating SG taking out wins when you have not been good. You just nick out a win and expect it to keep rolling for forever. No, you will resort to your main. You will fall to your main, and now they would suffer. On X, some 4 weeks ago, I bookmarked the tweet. It was an Aston Villa fan. He was going on and on with me. Chelsea had the toughest run. I said, see, bro, I'm not capping with you. Aston Villa, they are going to fall off. And you know why I said this? I'm very confident that Aston Villa would not be able to take the rigors of the running. And knowing fully well who Unai Emery is, he will prioritize the wrong competition. He believes that he has good credentials in Europa League. And of course, everybody knows that he has won quite some number of titles there. So he would prioritize that Europa League, and that would make Aston Villa to fall off the log. So I'm very confident the traditional top five will go to Champions League next season. Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man U.
Okay, awesome. So before I leave this line, Rory, let's just talk about what happened in the Champions League. The draws were out,
Yeah.
and now Chelsea has gotten PSG, while we got Leverkusen. And what's your take on the clash against Chelsea and PSG? Do you think revenge is going to be on the cards, or do you think, as a neutral fan, PSG will get a result against Chelsea?
Well, it's a difficult one because obviously Chelsea have already beaten PSG in the Club World Cup already. However, that was, let's be honest, a drained PSG who have won, 4 trophies in one season. And then, having to play the Club World Cup. And I don't know, like, I'm not just saying it because I don't really like Chelsea, but it's just like, well, let's be honest, PSG didn't really, apart from the end where Luis Enrique decides to slap João Pedro or something. I can't remember what happened in that game exactly, but I think the fact they've got to go to PSG first, I think if PSG can get a result in the first leg, I think it's curtains, for Chelsea. And to be fair, you probably prefer to go to PSG first than, playing them second. So, to be honest, pressure on PSG really, and I'd say PSG haven't really been the same team as they were last season. But then again, at the start, at this point, right, I would say the signing of Kvaratskhelia has sort of, changed everything. Yeah. Shame that Arsenal didn't get him, but I think with Chelsea, right, I think if they could get a good result away at PSG, I think that they could be sorted for the second leg. I'm not going to lie. Although to be fair, I don't know if Rafinha has got the bottle to defeat a team like that. Like if he does, fair enough. And Chelsea are known for being on the tough side of the draw. They done it in 2012 when they were the underdogs and they started. They started knocking out the likes of Bayern Munich, Barcelona, etc. in that season with, Di Matteo, which was madness. So, you don't need to be the best to obviously win that competition, the Champions League. It's just, I don't know if their manager's got the bottle, I really don't. They claim he's got aura, but really, let's be honest. I just think he's playing a character. I really do. Because he's come to Chelsea and I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, fair enough. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. So when you got the draw, you're going to take on PSG. Be honest with me. What were your feelings towards that? Were you confident or were you scared?
I was very excited, very confident because I know that Chelsea would knock out PSG over 2 legs. In just a quick one. Liam Rossignol is unbeaten against Luis Enrique in 3 tries. He was the first coach to defeat
from Strasbourg.
Yes, and this season he went to Paris Saint Park and he was 2 goals ahead before PSG rallied and they equalized 2-2. He went ahead again 3-2 before they equalized 3-3. He got a draw with the youngest squad in Europe, Strasbourg. So I don't understand what you are saying. He's got the bottle of blah, blah, blah. Enrique does not know how to beat Liam Rossignol. Liam Rossignol worries him. And Chelsea, ancestrally, look at all the records. We have the best records over PSG. Over 2 legs. They were fortunate to beat us just once in 6 tries. And they had to give Chelsea player a red card. Diego Costa also had an injury before they could defeat Chelsea, even with their mighty Ibrahimovic and the likes. So PSG are not a match. Over 2 legs, they are not a match. I'm very excited because I was worried that we would draw Newcastle and would have been the end of our journey. because, like you said, Champions League does not know who is the best, and the person in form. Newcastle would have knocked us out because they would be more stronger window than Chelsea would. But with PSG, first of all, they lost their best goalkeeper. Whether they play this Abelia or
Okay, yeah,
or,
Kivichi.
or
Then do it.
Stefanov, whoever,
Yeah.
Kopama will dunk on them. Whether it's Dwayne, whether it's Dembele, they are not the same side. That's just the truth. There's
Okay,
no way.
fair enough.
And Santos, the best six now in Premier League.
He's the best six.
Premier League
My
now.
lord. Then take it easy, bro. That's a huge claim.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Rory, before we leave this line, let us talk about Arsenal's own draw, and of course we hear Fei's section from that as neutral. When you saw that we got Leverkusen and saw that we're on the blue side of the Champions League bracket,
Yeah.
do you think we have it? We have what it takes to go all the way to the final?
I mean, to be honest, it's our best chance of reaching a final in the Champions League, considering the draw. I mean, it feels refreshing that we're actually on the easy side of the draw. All due respect to the teams, by the way, but over the years we've had to play the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid,
Barcelona,
PSG.
yeah.
We're always on the tough side of the draw. So to them lot who are saying, "Oh, we got lucky," etc., etc. No, we earned the luck, by the way, by beating the likes of Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and bloody Atletico Madrid. That's how it should be, by the way. When you finish top of the league phase, you should be able to
I agree.
face someone meaty in the next round. And Leverkusen, I mean, they're not the same Leverkusen as they were a couple of seasons back.
A couple of years ago now. True.
So, for me, that should be a walk in the park. It also gives us the license to actually rotate a couple of players as well, because there are certain players in this squad that are more suited to the Champions League. For instance, Timber's more than good enough to play in the Champions League, considering teams are going to come out against us, and then play Ben White in the Premier League for a couple of games. Not every game, obviously, because the guy can hardly stay fit. But for a couple of games, hopefully we do use that rotation here and there. I think of Lewis Skelly as well, who can fill in every now and then. Martinelli, we know what he's like in the Champions League. So we've got the free license to actually rotate a couple of players as well in the Champions League. And of course, if we do win that Leverkusen tie away from home fairly convincingly, then basically we can do what we've done against PSV, and got the job done in the first leg, and then we played. We could get away with playing a front three of Marino, Sterling, and Tierney, right? You can rotate a couple of players here and there in the Champions League. I know it is risky because it is the last 16 and you want to win this competition. I just think, in terms of the final, I don't even want to think about it right now, but I am grateful the fact we are in the Carabao Cup final, because I don't think I could deal with this team being in a final for the first time in Budapest, by the way. I don't think I'll be able to handle that. I don't think the team would either. So I think this is why I'm glad we are in a final at this stage of the season, because if we had to deal with that sort of pressure, let's say we don't win the league, we don't get to the semi-finals minimum of the FA Cup, you're telling me our season relies on a Champions League final in Budapest? That's if we lose.
That's serious pressure.
I don't think I'll be able to deal with that. I don't think the team will be able to deal with the stomach, really. So I don't know what to think about the final, really. All I'm thinking about, really, is just, get the Premier League over the line before we start talking about the Champions League pretty much.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then you got the quarterfinals as well, Bodo or Sporting. Bodo low-key do scare me a little bit, but I think over two legs we'll be able to beat them. And then Barcelona, will be the toughest game out of Newcastle, Atletico, and obviously Tottenham. But I think we can still beat Barcelona as well because of their high line.
Yeah.
Like Gyökeres
They
and
exploited
Martinelli
actually.
are beasts.
Atletico even exploited it in the last cup game and they were winning 4-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're ridiculous high line. You think Martinelli and Gyökeres won't feast on that?
Oh yeah, they
high
will
line?
cope with that.
Yeah, fair enough. We may concede a few, but at the
Yeah,
same
I
time,
know.
we conceded 4 goals. 4 goals in the whole of the Champions League phase, and we came up against Bayern Munich, who are supposedly the best attack in the world, by the way, with Elise, Harry Kane. We kept them too quiet without our best
And
defender.
you know, the 2 goals even came against Kairat. Again, I should have kept the clean sheet in.
Yeah, true. But again, we didn't have our best back 4 playing.
Yeah, true.
We
So
only had Gabriel injured for that game against Bayern, whereas we rotated against Kairat, didn't we? Ben White.
So, Faye, as a neutral fan in this perspective, what's your take on Arsenal on the blue side of the Champions League brackets?
But to be very fair, and when I saw the draw, I was like, whoever has now paid to be on that blue side. To be fair, Arsenal looks like the best side, best team on that side. And personally, I don't really think anything could stop Arsenal. Definitely not Leverkusen, not Bodo Glimt, not Tottenham, not Barcelona, not Newcastle. So if they bottle this time around, they would reel this if they do it, because this is their best chance of just trotting into the final. They have no competition whatsoever, and I believe Arsenal should get to the final. But the drawback to just err on the side of caution, as a fan, we all love to play the easy game, so-called easy game, quote and unquote. But really, they are not easy games. And the greatest mistake that these footballers would make is to be complacent and think we are playing a Leverkusen, we are not playing a Bayern, we are playing a Bodo, we are not playing a Real Madrid. That could play against them. Because look at last year, Liverpool galloped through the group stage basically, and they won the league phases. And the first real order versus a PSG
Yeah, they crashed out.
that came out of playoff that nobody really reckoned with, they crashed out.
Yeah.
So complacency would be Arsenal's undoing. Other than that, Arsenal are the strongest side on that blue side.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to injuries and suspensions. This is a part that Faye will be very, very disappointed in because Chelsea has quite a lot. But let's look at the Arsenal side. Ben White had a knock, against the Tottenham game, but when Arteta was asked about him, he obviously not that he never gives anything away and he likes lying. He just said, "Let's see." So obviously, I don't know what that means. Ben White was possibly not going to start this game, but you saw what happened in Tottenham game when we had to take Timber out. We had to play Musquera on the right hand side, and he did okay. Kai Havertz is also another player that we are hopeful to be available for selection. He just said he will train tomorrow and let's see. I hate that word, let's see. Of course, Max, that man will play with the under 21s. Then Mikel Merino remains the long-term absentee. So, Rory, I'll start with you here on this. How happy are you to see how our injury table has really reduced? Because for some reason, we can never have a clean bill of health at Arsenal. But one thing that really helped us has been the depth. So with the likes of White and Havertz potentially and unavailable for selection, do you think what we have should be okay without them even for selection?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to start off by answering your question about, well, I don't know what that means really when he says, let's see. Basically, it's probably, you just know he's either going to be playing tomorrow or he's just not going to exist ever again, unfortunately. Ben White and the likes of Kai Havertz. But I think, obviously, it's huge for this injury list to narrow down a little bit, but at the same time, I wouldn't count your chickens because we've seen this script before. When players come back from injury, we always lose another, whether that being in the warm-up, whether that being during the game. That's about it to me, that we always seem to lose players after when others come back from injury.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating in that aspect. But I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can't believe that I'm happy to see Havertz back from injury, because
Mhm.
I think he could have a key role from now until the end of the season, playing behind the striker, which of course worked.
Mhm.
A couple of games. So that's a big plus, because I think Havertz, we know his game, right? When he's got his back to goal, I think he's quite impressive, to be honest with you. So you don't have to rely on Gyökeres to do that sort of stuff when Havertz is in behind. So basically, you can just rely on Gyökeres to fish around for any rebounds or get on the end of a lot of chances. And I think that's why it worked, prior his injury. I mean, not the injury he had early on in this year, but, the injury he had previously. So I think, him coming off the bench to change the game would really benefit us, like it did, in the Carabao Cup semi-final. So I
Okay.
think if he can, if he can produce something, if he scores in the League Cup final, for instance, then I may respect the geezer more. With Ben White, I think he definitely deserves more minutes, but then again, there's that question mark on whether or not he stays fit.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll be considering playing Mosquera in a couple of games at right back, because, filled in against Tottenham and he was excellent. I still don't
Yeah.
think Timber is necessarily on the pace just yet. I think it may take him a couple more games, but at the same time, he's played far too many minutes to, you know, play from now until the end of the season. So I think it's about time we do give other players a shot at right back, whether that be Mosquera, whether that be Ben White. We've got to utilise these players, but then again, as I said, Ben White is always injured, which is a shame because he's a class player on his day. It's just injuries have definitely derailed him, really. So
Okay. Oh, I was about to talk to Felicia about the Chelsea injuries, but I think he just came up with the
yeah, they're
chat.
missing like Cucurella and for
Yeah.
Fafana, aren't they?
They
I
have
think
loads
they're
of
missing one
injuries.
more
They
as
have
well.
Fofana with the red card. They have. Okay, yeah, he's back. Okay, hi Shay, Faye. Welcome back. So Rory just spoke
Yeah,
about
thank
the
you.
Arsenal injuries. I want to talk to you about the Chelsea injuries and suspensions. Of course, we know about Mudrik, who is basically not available for selection. You further notice. And Fofana had that silly red card he got against Burnley. But for the injuries, you have Esugo out, you have Jorgensen out, you have Cucurella out, you have Estevao, you have Gittins, and you have Levi Colwill. So that's quite a lot, especially some key players like Cucurella and Colwill, and of course Fofana. What's your thought on your back line? Knowing fully well that you are heavily, depleted with this type of injuries. Do you think you're able to cope with Arsenal's attack?
Yes, sadly I think we should be able to cope with Arsenal attack because let's be honest, Arsenal would not attack you through the middle. The only concern would be losing Fofana's area prowess
Okay,
or
okay,
be
for
that
set pieces.
sorry, sir,
Okay, for set pieces.
but be that as it may, whoever the gaffer decides to bring in should be able to to get us over the line. Definitely, Gusto will play as the left back. So I'm thinking, Sa starts ahead of Tosin. Or if he decides to go with experience, sadly, Tosin will start with Church Haloba and Reese will
Yeah,
play in right
on the
back.
right.
So Tosin should be able to handle the set pieces, but then I am not totally sure because the manager said he was not putting him out to dry last week, but he was the person that was assigned to Zal Fleming, and he lost Fleming on the header, and Fleming scored from a corner kick. But I would think that playing starting Sarr for the first time in the Premier League at the Emirates might be a tad too much for the young boy. So I would just believe that he will go for experience in Tosin and Chaloba. So I believe that pairing should be able to handle Arsenal set pieces wide. But then it's frustrating really for the past how many games now. Whenever Chelsea is playing Arsenal, somebody will die. If it's not Palmer, it's Rhys James. If it's not Rhys James, Caicedo will be out. Some important player will be out. So I keep asking myself, why is it that Chelsea are never at their full strength whenever they are playing Arsenal? And the most frustrating part is that whenever Arsenal is playing Chelsea, some of their dead legs will come back. Kai Havertz will come back. Saka will come back. Trossard will come back. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. You can never see Arsenal play Chelsea and you hear Declan Rice is out. Let Declan Rice go out against Chelsea. Let's see if Arsenal will be able to play as well. So that's why we all were asked to submit a large squad of 26 footballers. So we should be able to just play that game. Hopefully, we should get something out of the game.
Okay, awesome. So let's go to predicted lineups. So what I've done here is to set up the formation that I think both managers would play with. So obviously, Rory, I would like to see your eyes on the Arsenal one. Of course, for you, look at the Chelsea one. So what I've put here is Raya in goal, Hincapié as the left back, Timber as the right back, with Gabriel and Saliba in the middle. And of course, Rice and Zubimendi in double pivot with Eze on the 10, Trossard, Gyökeres, Saka. Do you think there'll be any changes to this lineup, Rory?
Nope. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Awesome.
This is what I'm saying, right? And if I dare see that hair fiddling fucking fidget spinner in the 10, go home. Just pack up and go home. Put the fries in the bag, lock it off. We're dropping points. So,
I don't think
don't do anything stupid. Just keep it the same, and we might win.
Yeah. Okay, so Faye, let's look at the Chelsea lineup I set up here. I did Sanchez in goal, Gusto left back, James right back. I did Badiashile and Chaloba, but you spoken about Tosin, so I'm guessing that'll probably be the one ahead. In midfield, I did Santos with Caicedo, with Enzo in the 10, Palmer on the right-hand side, Neto on the left, and João Pedro in attack. Is this lineup ideal, or do you think there's been any changes? Man, I know you have spoken about Tosin earlier.
I think it's fair. Now that you put in Badiashile, I'm having mixed thoughts. But then, I just think Rosinho would go for the safe option of Tosin and Chalobah. But I want to speak about Arsenal. I know it's not my jurisdiction, but
No, go
I just
ahead,
have a
bro.
feeling. I just have a feeling that Arteta will start Odegaard. Arteta will
Why?
start. Yes, because first of all, Odegaard is Arteta's tactical instructor on the pitch.
No,
Mirrors
I'm
what
not doing that right now, bro.
he said.
We don't need Odegaard in the team right now. Trust me.
You think so? You don't need him. Yes, probably it might not give you what you feel the team needs now. But Arteta doesn't take chances. I'm seeing Arteta shunting Eze to the left and playing Odegaard. Let's see. It's just a feeling because
Yeah, you're actually correct. It's only a serious possibility, though. You're actually very correct.
oh, you know
But
why
it's making me go mad.
I said that. Why I said that. Arteta is averse to risk taking. He could have taken out Eze completely and bring in Odegaard. But after putting in such a performance he did against Spurs and kind of a relationship he had with Victor Gyökeres, I think he would want to give him another game. Now, first leg against Chelsea, Odegaard was on the bench. Eze started, and immediately Chelsea got red card. They went ahead. The first substitution that Arteta did was to bring in Odegaard, and it was at that point Arsenal started playing. City won today. Arteta does not want to take risk. He wants to win that game, and he believes that Odegaard translates and controls Arsenal's pace better than any other person. So I feel from the onset he will play an off Odegaard. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's a valid comment. Okay, so let's look at the key tactical battles. Obviously, it's going to be a strong one in midfield. The likes of Santos and Caicedo locking horns with Rice and Zubimendi. So, Rory, let me get your thoughts here if I talk to Faye. What do you think Arsenal can do differently to avoid that Chelsea's press? Because they are very good in dribbling the press quite high up the pitch, using top-man combinations and all. At least we saw
Well,
that in 2 legs against them in the Carabao Cup semis.
Well, it's safe to say that we actually need our six to come out and actually provide some line breaking because, listen, it feels like in these big games we just don't do it very often. Both Rice and Zubimendi are always set up as centre backs. It feels like so. That's one way to probably beat the press. We need whether that be Zubimendi or Declan Rice. We can't have them hiding in possession. Can we have them actually playing as midfielders, box crashers? Because let's be honest, right? Come on, Chelsea aren't this high pressing team that everyone makes them out to be. Because listen, Arsenal dealt with their press fine, like when we last played them, and then over the last two legs, it's in the Carabao Cup. When you think about it, away at Stamford Bridge, they couldn't even do that at home. Right, when we press them, we force them into mistakes. If you think about the first half, so I mean, I think with the midfield, it's obviously a key battle. Because if you don't win your midfield battle, then you're kind of cooked, aren't you? So I think, for me, we just can't have our midfielders hiding, and that's it. If Rice turns up, Zubimendi turns up, when you're at home, I think we'll be fine. Of course, Eze as well needs to turn up because this is the game for him, right?
Yeah.
There's a likely chance he's going to be given a second opportunity to build on from that Tottenham brace, and he's got to show, exactly what he'd done last week against Tottenham. It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Faye, do you have a counter argument to that?
well, he's entitled to his opinion, and I respect that. But then saying Chelsea's presses were not as efficient as people make it to be, just saying something. If you might recall, Zubimendi had his worst games for Arsenal against Chelsea in both legs of the Carabao Cup. And it was because of the position that Santos held in the first leg and Caicedo in the reverse. It will be interesting on how Rosinho set up Caicedo with Santos' seat. Will Caicedo play higher up? In the reverse fixture, Caicedo was the one hassling Zubimendi and Rice, and he kept Zubimendi to whatever, pass to the back, pass to the side. There were no forward forays as much as they would like. It took Declan Rice carrying the ball for Arsenal to get out of Chelsea's press. And then Chelsea had the bulk of the possession. We just couldn't get that goal. And of course, people will not remember what we did if you don't score. So
Yeah.
I believe the two matches against Arsenal would give Rosinho a proper indication of how to set up against Arsenal. And I believe that it will be key in midfield also. The role of Caicedo and Santos will be key. But I know that if Chelsea were to get something tomorrow, the most important player for Chelsea tomorrow will be Enzo Fernandez. And I expect that to be so.
Okay, thanks. So finally, we go to our match predictions. The last time Chelsea visited the Emirates, all it took was a Mikel Merino header in the 20th minute, to get this result. So I will start with you, Fee. What's your prediction for this game, and what's the reason behind that prediction?
Okay. To be very honest, I want Chelsea to win, and I'm rooting for a win. But everything, every iota of my being, it's saying it's a full-time draw. My prediction for the game will be a high-scoring draw, 2-2 or 3-3.
Awesome.
And the
Rory?
reason is that
Okay, sorry.
I'm.
Hold on. Let him give his reason. What's the reason for the 2-2 draw?
Oh, go on.
the reason is that Chelsea will be buoyed by the fact that they've stood toe to toe with Arsenal on 3 occasions this season, and they've fallen short on those 3 occasions. The first leg, despite going a man down, they were able to salvage something. The Carabao Cup gave them false hope, and Arsenal broke them in the first leg. In second leg, they could have also nicked it, but at the end, Arsenal were the one that nicked it. So this time around, and owing to the fact that the last time we scored at the Emirates was in 2022 when Madueke scored, Chelsea would score tomorrow for sure, and Arsenal will respond. Now, my mind is telling me that Chelsea will go ahead again, but because of Arsenal's mental fortitude and the strength they carry as a title chasing team, they would nick a draw from the jaws of defeat. That is my prediction. 2-2.
Oh, interesting. Rory, over to you. Your prediction and the reason behind it.
I'm gonna. Oh, predicted lineup.
No. Scoreline.
Oh, I thought you said predicted lineup. Sorry. I'll probably go 2-1 Arsenal. I think we'll go 2-0 up, and Chelsea will get a consolation to make it fairly nervy towards the end because we never make it easy. So I think we're gonna win 2-1, to be honest, and I'll take any 3 points at this rate.
Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's live preview. Thank you so much, Felicia and Rory, for the time out today. So, Rory, obviously you have your channel. Guys, follow Rory on Red RD. What do you have planned for the rest of the week, bro?
Well, there'll be a match reaction tomorrow. Hopefully, I won't be crashing out. And I won't be coming for the bus driver Well, to be honest, it's not just a bus driver. I kind of, come for everybody really every time we drop points. So, yeah, hopefully I'm not crashing out, and I'm actually pleased because, well, like I was last week. I'll probably say this week, as I said, match reaction. Then next week, obviously, there's my show on Monday, 8:30. Hopefully, I'll have no technical issues with the streaming. My God, it's honestly a chore trying to flipping sort it out. So hopefully, it's all sorted come Monday, and then there might be a show next week actually. Well, a new show actually. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's about it, really.
Sophie, this is your debut on the channel. Trust me, I really enjoyed having you this evening. Okay, so do you have any aspirations to come online and do what we do, or you just keep being a keyboard warrior in the group?
No. I really want to be part of you. And very soon, I should be hosting my own.
Awesome.
And it's been very nice doing this with you. Thank you for the opportunity once again. I really appreciate it. And it's a pleasure of meeting you, Mr. Rory. Hopefully, we'll get to meet some other time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So obviously tomorrow we're going to play Chelsea, 5:30 Nigerian time, 4:30 Rory's time. I might not do a watch along because I want to go to a bar and just drink and enjoy the game. But obviously at night we're going to have the match reaction where I'll come to Felicia's face and tell him we're beating you guys. But till then, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Come on, you gunners. And yeah, London remains red, not blue.